Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. If you haven't already, we do have our spoiler-free review of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 posted up, so check that out. But we're talking about a movie that just came to my attention recently, mostly thanks to Burn, because, you know, he's more on top of this stuff. He has more of a sophisticated palate when it comes to movies. AKA, he's fine watching more artsy stuff. And not that I'm not, like, necessarily open to it, but depending on what it could be, it's very hit and miss for me. But this one I was pleasantly surprised. And we're talking about the latest film from the acclaimed director Chloé Zhao, and that is Hamnet, based on the novel Hamnet, which was written by, I want to say something O'Farrell. I apologize, I don't remember the name off the top of my head. But it stars Jessie, Buckley, Paul Mescal, and let me see who else. I apologize. Mescal. Basically a bunch of English actors, great actors nonetheless. And this is also another spoiler-free review, so we're not going to ruin it for you. Unless you've read the book, then you kind of already know what happens. And also if you know your history, because this regards William Shakespeare, one of the greatest writer of all time. And yeah, so if you did like the movie, you like the actors, or you just like watching me and Burn weekly, every time we drop a video, feel free to give us that thumbs up to show your support, ring the bell for notifications, and of course subscribe just to keep the Rant community growing, shall we? So yeah, I never really heard about this one until Burn brought it up to me, but essentially it's based on the novel Hamnet, in which it's about, you know, William Shakespeare and his wife Agnes, who experience a tragedy in the family, and that's what compels him to write the most popular play of any generation, which was Hamlet itself. And I just went into it because thinking like, okay, it's a period piece. It's going to be an award contender, so let's go see what it's like. And given I did see it a little bit later at night, so I was a little tired, but that doesn't matter. It was just, wow, what a movie. Just such... Easily, I think this one should definitely steal some awards this upcoming season. It may not be my top 10 of this year, but it is. I just respect the hell out of it and the actors, mostly Jessie Buckley. But Burn, what did you think about this movie, and did you have any anticipations regarding it or anything like that? Let's know what your thoughts, my brother.
There definitely was some anticipation coming into it because. Chloé Zhao's, this was her next movie, after coming off of doing a brief stint with Marvel with the Eternals, but before that, coming off of an Academy Award for her movie Nomadland. And the previous movie before that, the writer was well acclaimed as well. So, this was one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe, just that brief blockbuster stint with the bigger like studio like Marvel just isn't really the right fit, even though I thought there were a lot of interesting ideas in that movie. These other movies that were more smaller in scale and more intimate were definitely some that were in her bag, and her going back to that after at that brief stint at Marvel, I was very much interested in. And then obviously you have two incredible actors with Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley, so and I was excited about that. And then also just sort of the awards, the different festival buzz about this movie. Hearing how really good it was, I was definitely looking forward to this. So, that now that it was a little bit closer to release, I was like, let's check this out. I this is what I do really want to watch. And man, like this movie just really floored me. I think there's these movies that come along like probably like once or twice a year that really do a good job of capturing sort of the human experience, right? In this particular case, dealing with the two constants in life, which are love and loss, and experiencing that through the lens of, like you mentioned, one of our greatest playwrights of all time. But what surprised me was really just how much of the story was really all about Agnes, Jessie Buckley's character. You would think, oh, this is a movie about the sort of the events that sort of led to the creation of the play Hamlet. You would think it would very much be centered around William Shakespeare and his experience and what he went through, but the movie's shifting focus instead to someone that probably or most likely a lot of people don't know about. I thought was very interesting, and I thought that was a really great creative choice. I haven't read the book Hamnet, so I don't know whose point of view that novel takes. But in terms of the film, I thought it did a really, really great job in giving us a different perspective and a different look at this sort of event that took place in history. And I know this is sort of a fictionalized version of that, but and a little bit speculative. But in doing so with these characters, and then giving us the point of view of Agnes, it brings a really grounded element to it, something that's a little bit more unexpected, I think. And I think the way Chloe Zhao, in her movies in the past, doing a really good job of focusing in on humans and emotions, and really like sort of dealing with characters at their most like intimate and their more uncomfortable moments. I think her and Jessie Buckley really doing an incredible job of showcasing that those really hard experiences of grief and loss and sadness, but without feeling like it bogs the movie down and sort of just like a miserableness that would sort of be unfun to watch. I think this movie handles it delicately and very well, with a nice touch to really like let us like empathize with these characters while not getting too bogged down in the sort of like dourness of it all. I think this is also just a really beautifully filmed movie. It's a lot less showy than I would say her last two movies were with Nomadland and Eternals. With those movies, there's a lot of shots that just feel very not in a bad way, but in a way that is impressive. They feel very like all painteresque, like they just, this shot was set up just to get an emotional experience out of. With this movie, it sort of just lets its beauty be naturalistic and just sort of the environments they're in. It doesn't feel like showcasing, like, oh, look at this image, even though I live for things like that. Where it's like, oh, yeah, show me all the really cool images that you can with the camera. But the images that stick with me most in this one are the intimate moments between the characters. Or when a character is on their own, having an experience that, I wouldn't have on myself because I'm not living in these old times, but yeah, just it was just a beautiful portrait of love and loss, and I think everyone involved here did such a really good job.
Oh, 100%. For me, the thing that stole it for me the most was just Jessie Buckley. She was so emotional, but so strong and so smart when this movie, like she, some families, the mom is the rock of that family, and she was definitely it in this one. It's just such a powerhouse of acting. The only other thing I've really seen her in is A24's Men, that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, which is crazy to believe. And that's the first movie I ever saw her in. I thought she was solid in that one. She's going to be in the upcoming Bride with directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, so hopefully that's good. But this is the movie I immediately thought she needs an Oscar nomination, if not the Oscar itself for leading actor. She was amazing in it. Paul Mescal is always good, in the things I've seen him in. He was definitely solid as William Shakespeare. He had some good moments, but I think she was definitely the star of the show. The other actor I think that really stood out to me was the one who played their son Hamnet, who the movie's based off of, and that was played by Jacoby Jupe, if I'm saying that right, who is the little brother of Noah Jupe, who was in Quiet Place, Ford versus Ferrari, and all those movies. Because the scenes that little kid was in is like, yeah, this kid's got a future in Hollywood. Let's see what else he can do. Just keep putting him in stuff. Maybe even Game of Thrones eventually. I don't know. House of Dragon. He'll get something. So, yeah, like I was expecting for me to be a little bit more emotional in some scenes, but I think maybe because it was a little bit later for me to watch this movie, so I was a little bit out of it and stuff. But just great movie all around. Great production design as well. The costume design, the sets and stuff, or where I think it was filmed actually, on location, which made it even better. It felt more real and like we're actually put into that time period. With all that being said, I'm going to give this movie a hard 4 out of 5. I think it's definitely a strong award contender for, like I said, costume stuff, best actor, best supporting actor, what have you. This is, if you're really seeing what's going to steal the Oscars or be nominated and stuff, this is one of those award contenders you should definitely check out, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think this one is going to be one that a lot of people talk about within the awards season, and rightfully so for all the things that you mentioned and all the things I mentioned. I agree. This movie does such a great job of taking you like into like the 16th century England, and really making you feel like you're in that place when it comes to the costume designs, the set designs, and like you mentioned, shooting on location. It makes the world feel real and lived in, and does a really good job of selling the experience. And I think again, the acting here is all great across the board. Jessie Buckley, if she doesn't get a nomination, I will I will cry foul online, because yeah, she gives such a incredibly like heartbreaking and grounded performance that like you and I have talked about in our own private conversations, that she doesn't take on a lot of roles, but when she does, she drops an incredible performance when she does. So this one is no different at all. I think this is definitely the role to like look at in this award season, to like say she's probably running away with it right now, but we'll see how everything plays out. But yeah, I think Chloé Zhao did an incredible job directing it, and the cinematography was great, the music was great, and for me, by the end of this movie, I was a mess. So any movie that can get some emotion out of me is gonna get like that, a little extra nudge. Definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. So for me, this one's gonna be a 4 out of 5. If you're looking for a good tearjerker of a movie, this is probably the best one that you can get, at least at this point in time.
Oh, 100%. There's really not a lot of emotional movies out there. So, I mean, we still have a few more weeks in the year, so we'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, so 4 out of 5 for both me and Byrne. For those of you who did happen to watch it, or maybe if you read the book written by Maggie O'Farrell, feel free to let us know in the comments what you think about it. And until next time, everyone, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.